calling the meeting to order. Thank you.
Right. Next, I'd like to request everyone to stand for Invocator, Director Johnny Ang.
Hello. Yeah. All rise, please. Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us the opportunity to gather here today. Thank you for protecting us as we traveled and for providing the way for us to meet, learn, and grow. As we gather for this Rotary lunch meeting, we seek guidance, wisdom, and unity. May our discussions be fruitful, our decisions be thoughtful, and our actions compassionate. Bless this time of fellowship and may our shared commitment to service inspire positive change in our community and beyond. All these things we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
So please remain standing for the national anthem.
Witness a history in our lifetime as we bring back to life what a true Rotarian should be. Service above self, unity in diversity, and inclusivity, all for one and one for all. This is our chance. This is our time to rise up and be the example of what humanity can achieve. Together, let's create hope in the world. So let us sing with one voice the Philippine National Anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, Teves ang sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Upang hinirang, kuya ka ng mag-ibig, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong bangaw, ay hinatang tulang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iibig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pamay di magdidinig. Luman ang araw ng walhagit pagsingkaw, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya na pagkay mga aking, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
And now the RC Makati hymn.
We're the Rotary Club of Makati, and together we stand proud. We are leaders with integrity, always ready to serve humanity, always living by the four-way test, building goodwill and peace along the way, giving hope to the world. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, prepared to aid our fellow men. As true Rotarians we live to lead. We believe in service above self, and this is why we succeed. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, and together we stand proud. We are leaders with integrity, always ready to serve humanity, always living by the four-way test, building goodwill and peace along the way,
Now we have the four-way test. Okay, repeat after me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. So now we'd like to acknowledge our guests and visiting Rotarians. Can we start with the table over here? Sorry, I have the names. Okay, so for dignitaries, we have past District Governor Peps Bengson. For our guests, we have Jennifer Teves Manalo. We have Bettina Bautista, Chief of Staff of Secretary Teves. Francis Simsim from E88 Ventures Inc., guest of President Bing. TGP Jennifer Ruin from RC Makati EDSA. Rotarian Sheila Belmoro from RC Makati San Lorenzo. IPP Nikki Gilladoga from RC Makati San Lorenzo. TGP Rodora Dapula from RC Circuit Makati. TGP Jelian Lopez from RC Alabang Centerpoint. TGP Cecil Asprek from RC Makati Ayala Triangle. For our Rotaractors, we have Rotaract John Arteche. This is the son of Boy Arteche, a future Rotary member. From the Philippine Institute for the Deaf, we have Miss Julie Esguerra, the Executive Director. Marie Chris Ibayan, School Principal. Ethan Rivera, RCM Scholar. Kazi de la Cruz, RCM Scholar. And from our partners with the Daily Tribune, we have Teddy Montelibano and Catherine Jose. So now let's have our welcome song for our guests. May I request all Rotarians to stand. Our guests can remain seated.
Friends of Rotary, we greet you. All friends of Rotary, we greet you. We want you to feel that our friendship is real. We are glad you're here today. So take back home a little cheer. Regards from all the fellows here. And when once more you're here our door, come again, our friends, come again.
Right. So let's see. Now our birthday celebrants and wedding anniversary celebrants. Let's see. What's that? Oh, sorry. Here. For our birthday celebrants, so we have Justin Tabunting on December 3. We have PDG Tony Kila on December 5. We have Francis Ortavesa, December 7. Patrick Maxwell, December 7. For Rotary Aunts, we have Lou Limhoko, November 29. For wedding anniversaries, Nico and Paula Deirit, November 29. Rex and Melanie Lagi, November 30. Annie and Rosa Padiernos, December 4. Can we have, will we have some singers for this? Can we have our singers for today?
It is your birthday,
All right.
your wedding day. Not the word. It is your birthday and wedding day. Let's celebrate this important day. We greet you deep in our hearts, dear. A happy birthday and happy wedding day.
Thank you. Thank you, Peps. Very interesting rendition. So next we have our club functions and committee announcements. Do we have any? Okay, no club functions, committee announcements. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ria, for reminding me. On December 4, we have a medical and optical mission in Southwoods, which partners organize. And one of those partners is Rotary Club of Makati for sponsoring the Philippine Cancer Society bus, which they will go to Carmona, Cavite, and treat about 100 plus patients. So for those of you who want to go to Southwoods, you can play in the morning. Of course, not free, Johnny. Play in the morning at 7 and then check our medical and optical mission for the caddies, for the security guard, right? And for some selected contraction. December 4, Monday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other? Yes. Neil? Sorry. Oh, okay.
Hi everyone. We would like to remind everyone of our Christmas party on December 8th at 5 p.m. at the Manila Polo Club. So we've prepared a great program for everyone and we're excited to welcome you all and see you all in your Paskong Pinoy attire. And after that, after December 8th, on December 9, we have another service project in Parañaque City. It's a breast and cervical cancer screening, of course, led by PP Cesar Campos, and our team will be there. I hope everyone can join. No, I hope many can join. The location is quite near. It's only in Parañaque, and we'll be very happy if you could join the team on that day. So that's it. Thank you very much, and good afternoon.
Yes, Bimbo.
Fellow members, last Saturday we went to Teresa Rizal on a medical mission for seniors this time, not for kids, for seniors, organized by past President Cesar, and led by Andrew Rieto and his team of about 10 doctors from the USD. It was quite a view seeing these seniors receiving medical attention from these doctors. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So yes, Michael.
Just want to remind everybody about the Angels gift giving. This year we were able to collect from our membership almost 800,000 pesos to give to our children. So if you just coordinate with Ria, I'm sure it'll be fun. We're giving away so many children's toys, and it was well chosen. to make them not only dolls, but things that uses their brains, like puzzles and all kinds of things. So everyone's welcome to share the joy with the children. And thank you all for contributing so much this year, Mr. President.
Thanks, Mike. To Mike Escaler is the one who sponsored our PGH activity. Yes, thank you. A special acknowledgement. Thank you. So, are there any other announcements? Okay. So now we'll have the turnover of the check for the Philippine Institute for the Deaf. We will request Julie Esguerra come forward. There. Actually, yeah. You should go ahead. Ah, okay. Sige. Okay. Yes. So we'd like to invite Miss Julie Esguerra to give some words. Thank you.
Good afternoon po. I'm Julia Esguerra, the founder and executive director of the Philippine Institute for the Deaf, the pioneer and premier oral school for the deaf in the country, teaching deaf children to speak and succeed in regular schools. So I'm bringing to you today, to the whole club, the heartfelt gratitude from the board of directors, the PID faculty and staff, and the 19 scholars of RCM and their families, their heartfelt gratitude that without your generous support of over the years, I would say 31 years already. Thank you, Rotary Club of Makati. Indeed, RCM has produced professional, self-reliant individuals in our country. And to name a few, some of your scholars before are now in the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Department of Education. They're now in so many universities as teachers. Some of them, one of them is a licensed librarian of the National Library of the Philippines, and so many other professionals. And in fact, the top scholar of RCM is Ethan Rivera, whose dream is to become the president of the country. Okay, the president. So if he really becomes the president of the country 6 to 8 years from now, the Rotary Club of Makati will be in Malacanang. Thank you so much for your 31 years of support, and we promise to take care of your scholarship fund, that they really will benefit the 19 scholars at the Institute. Thank you so much, and more power, and Merry Christmas.
Hello everybody, my name is Kasi. In K5 class, I want to be a day. Merry Christmas po.
Mabuhay, good afternoon. I'm Ethan. I'm 18 years old and in grade 11. I dream to be the president of the Philippines. Thank you so much for supporting in my studies for almost 11 years. Maraming salamat po. Merry Christmas. We hope you like our short Christmas show. Hi, I'm David. Hello, I'm John. Hi, hello. Good day, I'm David. Oh, that's all. Hello, I'm David. Hi, I'm David.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Very inspirational.
Galing. Galing.
Thank
Inspirational. Congratulations to past President Cesar Campos for starting this during his term as president.
Yes, he's still the one who's managing it for our
Yeah,
club.
I mean,
up
I
to now.
remember 16 years ago, when I was president, the budget that we allocated for this was only 75,000. Now we're close to 1 million. Congratulations to the Rotary Club of Makati.
So now we'll have our president's time. I'd like to turn it over to Bing.
Thank you very much, Julian. You know, just watching the presentation of our guests from the school doesn't make your heart skip a bit faster, and it makes our lives as Rotarians a lot more meaningful. And you know, we're looking forward, of course, to be able to do more for a lot more people who have those kind of needs. No. Last Tuesday, our club, alongside other Rotary clubs in our district, co-hosted the TRF Donor Cultivation Night at Le Pavilion in Pasay City. I extend my sincere thanks to PDD Sid Garcia, DGN Reggie Nolido, and PE Keith Harrison for their active involvement. A special commendation is due to PDG Sid, for his generous pledge of $5,000 to TRF this Rotary year. Your dedication exemplifies the very essence of our commitment to the Rotary Foundation. A heartfelt thank you also goes to PP June and Anne Cecil Dairit for orchestrating our visit to the Hospicio de San Juan de Dios in Bocaue, Bulacan. Together, we extended our compassion to almost 100 mentally ill male adults under the care of the Brothers of Mercy. Appreciate the meaningful participation of Comrade Boy Arteche, of course, in this venture. Furthermore, I express my deepest gratitude to Anne Cecil for her remarkable $8,000 donation. Channeled, let's give her a big hand, even if she's not here. Channeled through Give to Asia under RC Makati, and for the delightful lunch treat that celebrated her birthday. Last Saturday marked the realization of our dedication to health as we conducted a medical mission befitting nearly 100 senior citizens in Teresa, Rizal. At this point, allow me to share the RC Makati video news of the project. Can we have the video played, please?
On a Saturday morning, the Rotary Club of Makati embarked on a journey of compassion and care, led by the chairman of the medical mission, Andrew Prieto. Alongside him, past President Cesar Campos and Bimbo Mills devoted their time to ensure the health and well-being of the seniors in Rizal. Traveling nearly 2 hours from the bustling heart of Manila, the RCM team made their way to Pantay Elementary School in Barangay Dalig, Teresa, Rizal. Their destination, Pantay Elementary School, where nearly 100 seniors eagerly awaited the medical care that the RCM team had brought to their doorstep. Upon arrival, messages were shared by Teresa Rizal Mayor Rodel de la Cruz, past President Cesar, Andrew, and past President Bimbo, setting the tone for a day of compassion and service. Then, the mission unfolded with each patient given the opportunity to consult with doctors. Zeta Beta Mu fraternity provided expert care to address the diverse health needs of the community. After the consultations, patients were guided to the medicines and vitamins section, generously sponsored by RC Makati, ensuring that essential healthcare was accessible to those in need. This mission, made possible through partnerships, saw the collaboration of Zeta Beta Mu fraternity, Agham Church, and the Teresa Local Government Unit. Approximately 20 medical personnel from Zeta Beta Mu worked tirelessly alongside Rotary Club of Makati to bring healthcare to those who need it the most. Special thanks to Teresa LGU for providing free flu and pneumonia vaccines, underscoring the commitment to preventive healthcare. As the sun set on this day of service, the Rotary Club of Makati left behind not just medical supplies, but a legacy of compassion and goodwill, ensuring that no one is left behind in the journey towards better health.
Simultaneously, on that same Saturday, PP June Dairit and PE Keith Harrison represented our club at the Thanksgiving celebration of the Sanlakbay Drug Rehab Program. Our commitment to community service and drug awareness was underscored as we distributed essential items to the enrollees of the community-based drug rehab program. In response to the urgent call for aid from the flood victims in northern Samar, our Disaster Response Committee, under the capable leadership of Bom Villatuya and Chairman Chris Ferraresa, coordinated with RC Kandaya and RC Katarman for a relief mission. Together, we provided support amounting to 200,000 pesos worth of hygiene kits, benefiting over 600 families in 2 missions. Thank you to everyone involved for your swift and impactful response to those in need. Looking ahead, I invite each and every one of you to mark your calendars for our annual membership meeting on December 12, as per our bylaws. This pivotal gathering will witness the election of new directors who will serve our club under the leadership of P. Keith Harrison the next 2 years, and PE nominee Eddie Galvez. It is also our governor's visit, making it a crucial event in our Rotary calendar. I urge all members to please attend and actively participate. For those unable to join, please ensure we meet the required quorum by filling up the proxy form. In closing, I'd like to extend a special welcome first to my classmates, fellow TGP presidents. Thank you. Thank you for gracing this occasion. And of course, our long absent past President Felix Amparo. Welcome, Felix. Hey. Okay, with that, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, President Bing. So now for the introduction of our guest speaker, we have Anton Cabrera.
Thank you, Julian. Our speaker for today was an economist who served as the Philippine Secretary of Finance from 2005 to 2010, for which he was awarded 2009 Finance Minister of the Year for Asia by the London-based The Banker magazine. Previously, he served as the President and CEO of Land Bank of the Philippines from 2000 to 2005, and also served 3 terms from 1987 to 1998 as the Congressman of the 3rd District of Negros Oriental in the Philippine House of Representatives. He was also a delegate in the 1971 to 1972 Constitutional Inclusion Projects. Sorry, let me repeat myself. He was also a delegate in the 1971 to 1972 Constitutional Convention. Gary was formerly a consultant at the World Bank International Finance Corporation, involved in the bank's financial inclusion projects in the Philippines. He also served as a managing director of the Wallace Business Forum, a research and management consultancy that helps chief executives navigate the political and business landscape of the Philippines. Presently, he sits as an independent director of SMC and Atok Big Wedge Corporation, as well as Alpha Land Corporation, Alpha Land Balasin Island Club, Inc., and Atlantic Atrium Investments Philippines Corporation. Please allow me to introduce Margarito Gary B. Teves.
Thank you very much, Anton, for the very kind introduction and generous compliment. I'd like to greet our president, Ding Matoto, our directors, Julian Lim, Director Johnny Ang, and of course, Anton Cabrera here. I'd also like to greet our immediate past president and a very dear family friend, Michael Escaler. I have with me, for the first time in so many events, my eldest daughter. She wanted to hear something about what I was going to say today. And of course, our research associate, who helped us prepare our presentation materials today. Distinguished members and guests, good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me, Bing. I hope I can share with you some of the more recent developments in our economy, and more specifically on the country's most pressing economic and social concerns and possible solutions, which was suggested by Bing, and I thought that was something that would resonate with us, Bing. In September 2023, and for the third consecutive year, Pulse Asia conducted a survey on 1,200 respondents. The result shows that controlling inflation remains as the topmost urgent concern of Filipinos. The second and third top concerns were increasing the pay of workers, 49%, and creating more jobs, 27%. Overall, inflation slowed down to 4.9% in October 2023 from 6.1% in September. However, this remains above the government's target range of 2 to 4%. The Philippines has the highest average inflation rate for 2023 among its peers at 6.4%. Year-on-year price increases in Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam are only at 1.6%, 2.8%, and 3.2% respectively. Inflation also affects underemployment. When the same amount of income can buy fewer goods because of inflation, Filipinos have to look for more sources of income. The underemployment rate in September 2023 was 10.7%. This means that 5.1 million Filipinos were looking for an additional job or more hours of work to augment their income. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, shows that real wages have not kept up with inflation. The average daily basic rate, or ADBP, of Filipinos grew by less than 21% from 391 pesos in 2012 to 472 pesos in 2022, measured at constant 2018 prices. On the other hand, the overall prices of goods and services increased by 35% in the same period. Latest estimates from the PSA also showed that 2.3 million Filipinos, or 4.5% of the labor force, were unemployed in September 2023. The Philippines has a relatively high unemployment rate compared to most of its ASEAN neighbors. Average unemployment for 2023 in the Philippines is at 4.6%, higher than Thailand's 1.2%, Vietnam's 2.1%, and Malaysia's 3.6%, but lower than Indonesia's 5.3%. Now let's go to our recommendations. In terms of controlling inflation, from the Executive Department, we suggest, 1, encourage greater private sector participation, specifically with the big conglomerates, in the supply chain to fight disruptions that drive up prices. These initiatives can foster competition in the market, compelling cartels, hoarders, and profiteers to lower their prices to remain competitive. These conglomerates can invest in providing financing, inputs and technology, improving storage facilities, strengthening transportation infrastructure, and establishing direct marketing channels in collaboration with farmers. Manny Pangalinan's Vegetable Post-Harvest Handling Program and San Miguel's Corporation Poultry Market Development Initiative exemplify corporate social responsibility. These programs train farmers and connect poultry farmers with buyers, reducing spoilage and improving product prices. This is a chart which is quite important in illustrating the importance of getting the private sector involved in the different components of the supply chain to allow the prices of goods to be more affordable by the time they reach the market. I will try to amplify this. The Department of Science and Technology revealed alarming levels of post-harvest losses in the Philippines, particularly for fruits, ranging from 5 to 48%, vegetables 16 to 40%, and grains such as rice and corn 15%. This exceeds the global average of approximately 14% for both fruits and vegetables. One significant contributing factor to these losses is the country's relatively low rate of refrigerating capacity per capita compared to other Asian nations. Meanwhile, according to the DTI, logistics costs account for 24 to 53% of the wholesale prices. Shipping and port handling costs cover 8 to 30%, depending on the goods route. Almost 40% of harvested fruits and vegetables are spoiled, and 20% of corn products are wasted during transport, which contribute to the higher final price that consumers pay for. The next suggestion for the executive is develop more agriculturists, especially agriculture extension workers, particularly focusing on their role in helping farmers enhance productivity at the farm level, which can help them cut food prices and ensure affordability. These experts bridge traditional and modern farming, vital to crisis management. By providing farmers with advanced knowledge, techniques, and technologies, agriculturists can help increase crop yields and overall agricultural output. Increased productivity can contribute in minimizing shortages that could lead to inflation. The third is to promote a co-financing mechanism that incentivizes local production units, the LGUs, to provide more funding to crop or for crop plantation. For instance, an LGU investing 1 peso in agriculture would receive 2 to 3 times matching fund from the national government. This financial model encourages LGUs to commit significant resources to various agricultural projects addressing inflation by enhancing productivity, supporting farmers, and improving post-harvest facilities. The co-financing aspect provides financial support and motivation for LGUs to actively contribute to combating inflation through a comprehensive agricultural development. Or continue pursuing bilateral free trade agreements or FTAs. As the president continues his trips abroad to invite investors to the Philippines, the country must continue pursuing multilateral and bilateral FTA opportunities. FTAs create a comprehensive, competitive environment where countries strive to provide the lowest prices for their inputs. This in turn allows manufacturers to provide lower prices for finished goods and improving the purchasing power of consumers. The Philippines recently signed an FTA with South Korea and is negotiating FTAs with the US and the European Union. On the part of the legislature, 1, amend the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law, or CARL, to allow land farm consolidation by increasing the 5-hectare limit to 20 hectares. This will result in bigger farms that will help increase productivity through modernized farming practices and achieve economies of scale. This amendment also includes improved rural infrastructure, better access to credit, and market regulation for small farmers. These changes can collectively lead to increased food production, stabilizing the supply, and contributing to more affordable food prices for consumers. Two, amend the warehouse receipts law by modernizing it and taking advantage of technological innovations to improve farmers' access to agricultural financing and give banks and financial institutions more confidence to lend to farmers. This amendment is vital in reducing post-harvest losses and ensuring optimal storage conditions, particularly for more perishable products such as vegetables and meat. By bolstering confidence in storage and trading systems, the amendment can attract increased investment and participation in the agricultural sector. The proposed amendment is currently under review by the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Food. Three, pass the Livestock Development Bill to address high prices of livestock, poultry, and dairy products, or LPDS. This includes the consolidation of support agencies such as the Bureau of Animal Industry, Philippine Carabao Center, National Dairy Industry, and the National Meat Inspection Service into the Philippine Livestock and Poultry Authority and the Bureau of Animal Safety and Regulations. Emphasizes the importance of a comprehensive roadmap for the development of the livestock, poultry, and dairy value chain. Furthermore, the bill allocates tariff revenues to enhance LPD productivity and earmark funds for corn and feed wheat to boost corn productivity. In terms of increasing the pay of workers, on the part of the executive, we suggest operationalize the Philippine Qualifications Framework, or PQF, to standardize and certify on-the-job training, helping upskill, get promoted, or be hired elsewhere. Two, test that to update its existing training courses and training regulations in collaboration with the private sector to ensure alignment with evolving technology such as IT and tech-related programs. In terms of increasing the pay of workers from the legislative department, passed the apprenticeship bill to increase the duration of the apprenticeship program from 6 months to a maximum period of 3 years, depending on the complexity of the skills being trained for, as stated in Senate Bill 2491. On the part of the executive, review the K-12 curriculum, specifically the last 2 years, to make it responsive, more responsive, and relevant to the demands of the market. The last 2 years of the K-12 program are meant for the study of specialized skills. Updates must be done to include encouraging soft skills such as communication, problem solving, leadership, and so on, and improving science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or the STEM program. Two, the national government should also continuously improve the business climate in the Philippines to attract more job-generating businesses. The government recently issued EO number 18, or EO 18, on green lanes for strategic investments. Through the EO, a one-stop action center for strategic investment will be established at the Board of Investment, which will serve as the single point of entry for all projects qualified as strategic investment. Strategic investments are all those in line with the Philippine Development Program from 2023 to 2028. Third, and this is probably, this will resonate with our colleagues here, improve the nutritional programs for school children by collaborating with the private sector. I'll reverse it because the draft says the private sector should proactively continue supporting government efforts. I'll reverse it. The government should be the one who should proactively support the initiatives of the private sector to help address involuntary hunger and malnutrition in the country. In 2020, former President Duterte signed EO 101, which created an interagency task force on zero hunger, which created an avenue for private sector participation towards ending malnutrition. Feeding programs for children were given a 45% increase from 10.9 billion in 2023 to 15.8 billion in the proposed 2024 budget. From the Legislative Department, in terms of creating more jobs, continue increasing the budget of the Department of Energy to make energy more secure and affordable. The proposed DOE budget for 2024 is 2.6 billion, which is 16.7% higher than its 2.2 billion budget for 2023. Secure and more affordable energy will help attract more investors, which could generate more jobs for Filipinos. 2, amend the CREATE law for a more attractive menu of incentives. While CREATE was a landmark legislation, the Philippines need to ensure that its menu of fiscal and non-fiscal incentives is at par with its ASEAN neighbors. Some of these proposed amendments to CREATE include extending the income tax holidays from 4 to 7 years up to 10 to 15 years, retaining conditions on locations such as PESA and ecozones, and industry priorities such as the Strategic Investment Priority Plan, and apply the same incentives, apply the same extension to the gross income tax scheme as well, up to 10 years. Increase the Fiscal Incentive Review Board investment approval threshold from the 1 billion at present to a minimum of 3 billion to a maximum of 20 billion pesos to expedite the evaluation of and proposal of foreign investors by the investment priorities agencies. Duty exemption of importation of raw materials should apply to non-export enterprises. Increase reduction for labor and earning and training expenses from 100% to 200% at par with Indonesia. Our other recommendation. The President should convene and preside over the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council, or LEDAC, at least monthly, to closely monitor the progress of important bills that will effectively address the top concerns of Filipinos. The LEDAC should also rigorously monitor the utilization of the national budget on the ground. 2, involve pertinent oversight committees in both the House and the Senate. Their oversight and scrutiny will provide an additional layer of accountability and help improve transparency in implementing these measures. 3, the executive, legislative, local government units, or LGUs, and the private sector should actively engage in cross-sectoral partnerships. By creating avenues for dialogue, sharing expertise, and aligning goals, these entities can work together to effectively address the concerns of controlling inflation, increasing workers' pay, and creating more job opportunities. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the challenges we're facing require a comprehensive and united approach. We hope that the outlined recommendations provide a strategic roadmap towards mitigating these challenges. particularly in controlling inflation, increasing workers' pay, and creating more job opportunities. However, the success of these initiatives relies heavily on the strong and sustained commitment and coordinated efforts of both the legislative and executive branches, the LGUs, and the private sector. In addition, the Rotary Club of Makati, with its esteemed members, can also serve as a catalyst for change and progress. Let us therefore embrace our role as advocates for positive transformation and contribute to the realization of a Philippines where economic and social concerns are effectively addressed, fostering a better quality of life for all. Thank you very much.
Take it here for questions. Thanks, Gary.
Okay, thank you. Hello. 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 Yes. Now I'd like to open the floor up for questions. Yes, Roland.
Gary, here.
Secretary Teves, thank you very much for your presentation. We like it and we support it. May I say a few words, suggestions? To my mind, as a layman, agriculture is synonymous to water. If we don't have enough water, there is no such thing as agriculture. Not even if you give all the fertilizers in the world. So what we need are waterways. Irrigation seems to be a negative word at this time. So let's look at waterways like highways. And then we need arteries. Both ways, it should bring water to the farm areas. Everywhere in central Luzon. And then during flooding, it should bring the water to a ponding area. So if you have that, you don't need to help the farmers. They will know what to do. The oldies know how to plant in the old days. So they will teach them. So that is a major flaw that our program doesn't have. So that's my 2 cents worth.
That's a very good point. I failed to mention that. I didn't have enough research material on that matter. But I can tell you in my experience when I was still a congressman, and that was 1987 to 1998. Do you know that whenever I would visit our constituents on a weekly or every 10 days basis, I have what I call some sort of an informal forum like this, just to get the views of the constituents on their priorities. My bias was really water. So what I would suggest at that time was, okay, you can give me your suggestion and we will vote on it. We vote on it. So like now we're about 40. If water comes out number 1, that will be the priority for this particular barangay. No? And I always hope that water would be the first to be given priority. I don't dictate to them what they want. No, I let them. But somehow I always had in mind water. And up to now, because of growing population, it has become a serious problem. So I'm sorry I failed to do that, but that should really be put there as a priority in terms of helping our constituents and the poor people of the Philippines. No? And also for our farmers, no, as you mentioned. I'll probably modify that by our presentation. Thank you.
So next we have Boy Arteche.
Maayong hapon.
Ngayong hapon.
Oo. My question is, based on the parameters you have discussed about the economic condition, at present, how does the BBM administration fare? Maayo ba? Maayo unsa man?
You know, it's not an easy thing. I was a former politician. No?
Oh, lagi?
I've been asked that question. In fact, in a in a previous Rotary Club meeting also, we struggled with the staff on how to provide the substance and the packaging. To be honest, among us, it's only satisfactory. No. There's still
Satisfactory?
room for improvement. No, because we're only, actually that time was an assessment of the first year of the BBM administration.
Karon, second year na karon.
We're on our second year now. So there are some progress, but not enough yet. We still have to
Okay.
work harder, no? Especially in some of the lines that we
Yeah.
discussed this morning. No?
Kinahanglan mutabang jud ka?
Ano?
Kinahanglan mutabang ka?
Mutabang tantanan.
Like-
We all need to help because whatever happens to our country will also affect us, no? Well, wala isa pa yan.
Yes, we have a question from here. Harley, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Harley Luis Liano. Actually, I am advocating a barter-to-barter system and also a reduced energy cost. In the Philippines as well as in Indonesia, I am the first one to sign a bilateral trade agreement on business to business. That was last December 30, 2022. And our approach is we will do a bartering using our material like, for example, abaca, fibers, tobacco, as well as mineral ores. Because in Indonesia now, they really are in dire need of tobacco. Precisely, there is about 80 million smokers in Indonesia. And you can just imagine, sir, that they're even importing from Latin Americas, India, as well as Pakistan. That's almost around a $1 billion importation. And we're trying to work on this, precisely the National Tobacco Administration, through the baton leadership of Yusik Sabiliano as the governing board in the NTA, has adopted the barter-to-barter for a fertilizer as well as other products that we intend to barter. And the good thing here is we are targeting on a $1 billion bartering. But to us, we cannot have this materialize within the year. Maybe by next year, first quarter, we can do that. And precisely also, the mineral ores, which are being mined by big corporations here, we're looking at the Minahan ng Bayan cooperatives. We have to boost the Minahan ng Bayan so that the extracted mineral ore will be brought to Indonesia for a barter of coal, of urea fertilizers, maybe metal tin, and other products that they are producing there. Precisely, their cost of energy is only around 3 pesos per kilowatt. So if we will do that, it will have a cascading effect to our economy by way of reducing the cost of energy as well as giving a vibrant industry in the countryside. Thank you, sir.
May I know the question?
Can you repeat the
Or it is just
question?
an explanation?
Yeah, based on your
You
explanation.
wanted to
Yeah,
amplify.
based on your
Yes.
explanation, we are now in consonant with your adopted recommendation because we have already started that. Of course, with the Secretary Alfredo Pascual, who is our Rotarian brother here, has also given me that marching order. Although I'm a private sector, but since he's a Rotarian, we also do helping him to work on this on the DTI sector. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I just add, if I hope I understood you correctly, we need to have other sources of energy that will help, like the electric vehicles, solar, and so on, and to continue to push for a larger budget also for the Department of Energy. Even this small nuclear energy could be considered as well, rather than the traditional large type of nuclear energy.
Yeah.
So altogether, hopefully, this can bring down electricity rate because power inflation or electricity inflation is still a very significant factor in the overall inflation condition of the Philippines.
Right, sir. In addition to that, I have signed an agreement with PTPL and Indonesia, which is the biggest power generator in the Southeast Asia. And they're willing to give us the technology of green hydrogen. Of course, that would be a hybrid cogeneration with our biofuel as well as the green hydrogen. That would reduce enormously the cost of our energy using now the seawater or the plain water that would be transformed into a hydrogen gas that would generate power. Thank you, sir, again.
Thank you. Yes, we have a question here. Oh, wait, could you, wait,
Good day, Secretary Teves. My name is Vicar Salas. I agree with your recommendation about increasing the limits of the agrarian reform from 5 to 24 hectares. In fact, I think it should be more. It should be 50 to 100 because poor farmers do not have the capital to efficiently farm. It will cost them more to produce on smaller tracts of land. That being said, I understand agrarian reform lapsed back in 2012. So are you saying that even if the agrarian reform law has lapsed in 2012, we still need to amend it to increase the limits? And second, maybe someone with your stature can give the voice. First question is, do we still have to amend a lapsed law, agrarian reform, considering it lapsed back in 2012, to increase the limits from 5 hectares to more, 24 or whatever? And second is, maybe may I ask that someone of your stature give a voice out to recommend to those that have power to maybe issue an executive order, because since it's lapsed, technically us who have tracts of land, we still have to go through, when you go to the Register of Deeds, we have to go get a clearance from the DAR, an institution which shouldn't even have clearances anymore since their power lapsed. So one is a question. The second is we hope you can use your stature to give your recommendations. Let it be heard by the administration, because core farmers cannot lend their land because that's an agricultural title. So they have small capital. At least we can reach the economies of scale if they can have 50, 100 hectares of land and use traditional farming methods. So that's one. So I just want to know, do we still need to amend the lapse law?
Maybe Julian can help me in terms of the other aspects of the question. But what I heard, if I heard you correctly, why only 24 hectares? Why not a bigger one? Frankly, we would have wanted much bigger than that. Hurdling 24 hectares is really a struggle by itself. So hopefully it can be more, but this requires a lot of interaction with the executive, legislature. So hopefully at least there's a step towards a bigger latitude, a wider latitude than what we recommended. So this is what we call it, the incremental approach, incremental gains. No? The other aspect, what else?
He was asking that the law was already lapsed. The agrarian reform law supposedly lapsed in 2012. So does it still need to be amended?
Yeah. Even if it has already lapsed, sometimes it really takes time for laws to be changed because there are forces that are also against changes. Agrarian reform program is really is in response to a large component of our population who were advocating for some form of social justice. But there was a trade-off, and there's still a trade-off between social justice and productivity. As you know, I recall even from Secretary Estrella, when I talked to him about it, he said to me, Sec, the old man Marcos and my grandfather really just wanted to concentrate the agrarian reform program on rice and corn. It was not to be expanded beyond this. But somehow the Cory administration, I guess, had a lot of other groups who might have convinced her that it should be more than rice and corn. So that is the challenge that we're facing today, that we know that certain types of crops will necessitate a larger consolidation of land. So again, it's so hard to make those changes, no? But we don't know. We can try, but let's do it incrementally if it takes time, no? Yeah. Did I answer other questions? No. Okay. So I'm sorry if I didn't capture all your questions. No. Yeah. Oh, I'd like to greet our good friend and past president, Eddie Yap. Hey, Eddie. No. Can I amplify a little bit about what my good Visayan friend mentioned earlier? I was a bit cryptic. Maybe between us girls, we can expand it a little bit more. I had to state a reason why it's only satisfactory. You know, what I presented to you this morning is not really essentially esoteric. It's really a sentiment gathered by a reputable institution like Pulse Asia and a similar institution like SWS. So why is this important? It's important because these are the sentiments of the people, right? So if based on their accurate assessment, isn't it that that should be the one that should be focused on by any administration? And based on these recurring surveys, that is how it is. Controlling inflation is the most significant factor. I mean, you know it. As businessmen, if we can control inflation, everything else follows. The Banco Central need not raise its policy rates. Businessmen will borrow money at very low interest rates, and therefore helping our enterprises, the micro, small, and medium enterprises. There's no rocket science about this whole thing. It's just focus and really devoted to addressing this. And I think the president would do well if he can address these three concerns. Everything will follow. He can come up with more complicated or more unpopular measures later on, even tax measures, as long as he can address these three main concerns. No? So that's the reason why I have to be only addressing this as a satisfactory performance. No, thank you.
Yes, Sid Garcia.
Hello, Gary. I had the occasion of meeting with Bernie Villegas, and he was exactly saying this thing about inflation as one of the main issues that really affects our country, as you had mentioned. No? And he says one good way to do it is to really improve productivity of rice, corn, sugar, and the prices, the productivity of chicken and pork, meats, in other words. No? And he says, well, you have given a solution which was expanded, increasing the capacity to do large tracts of land by increasing productivity. But he says that for the country to tame inflation, we should really have a sustainable level of about 70%, wherein we can produce goods in a very productive manner, so that prices of basic commodities and meat products can really be within the reach of the people. No? So my question here, Secretary, is how can we improve or attain a higher level of sustainability, wherein we will produce at least 70% of our goods instead of importing them? And what incentives can government provide to encourage farmers and even businessmen to go into agribusiness?
It's a very long story, but can I, Bettina, can we show again the supply chain graph that we have? Because this to me is one of the most important illustrations on how the government and the private sector can help each other in trying to bring down the inflation rate, especially the number one component or factor is food inflation. No, most of our presentation really was associated with food. You start from production, and then I indicated earlier the various losses that take place from the production side to post-harvest, to dry and cold storage, to logistics, all the way down. Now, if this is inadequate, and if this is only addressed by a small group of what we call reportedly, I don't have any basis of profiteers, hoarders, and cartels, then they are actually going to monopolize the whole thing and dictate market prices of all these goods. So we need to work on these various components by investing in it, and even on the part of what I called earlier, the LEDAC. LEDAC should always have in their agenda anything related to these three concerns, nothing else, nothing else. And if we are able to address it, I can tell you a lot of changes will take place. We will have inflation rates similar to the ASEAN countries. Everything will do well. But this to me is the greatest challenge on how to do these things. Both the government and the private sector should really work on it. If, for example, being asked me, what happened in South Korea? Why is South Korea doing well? You know, out of many literature that we've seen, the most important to me, even as you as chief executive, is really focus. Focus. Many in the literature did not say that the President then being Park Chung-hee was really focused initially on agriculture. Remember, agriculture, not exports. He started with agriculture. In fact, he said many times when he is presented with proposals from legislators and from the business sector or from his own cabinet, he will always ask this question, what will this do to the farmers? So the focus is very, very, very helpful. And if we can just focus on these three items, I can tell you we can recover. But of course, there are other aspects here outside of my field, education and health. We must improve education and health to be productive. You know. So I'm sorry, it's a very short answer, but it's really focused and all these elements that we made is said before. Thank you.
Yes, Bing. Yes, go ahead, Bing.
Gary, Secretary Gary, it's so funny that you flashed the slide on comparing South. Okay, well, a bit of a background for those who are not aware. I do write an article every week, and about 2 weeks ago, I wrote an article about South Korea because I was there for a few weeks. And I inevitably compared, of course, South Korea, their progress, and relative to them, our relative lack of progress. No? And so it's funny that you flashed something on the screen. One of the items here that I think were not too apparent was actually the leadership. So I'm talking about the leadership of the country. You know, if you take a look at the history of Korea, you know, if you take a look at the history, the leaderships were either asked to leave the country forcefully, assassinated, coup d'etats, or subsequently put into jail. There were 3 ex-presidents who went to jail, which, and as we know, South Korea is, although democratic, is autocratic. In fact, as they evolved from the Korean War, they were like the worst country in the world. And yet, where are they now? No. So I guess my question to you is: does the type of government or the kind of leader that we need important in determining whether we can, you know, move ahead in a much faster way? Because you mentioned several suggestions, no, which are of course almost like a laundry list of nice to have, no? But the reality is, as you yourself said, is that these things take a while. And of course, there are vested interests as well in our economy, in our society. You know that. That's a reality. So given all that, so sometimes perhaps is it autocracy that is needed to impose certain reforms that otherwise may not be popular or may not have a chance to pass legislation. You were with legislation, you were with executive, and of course you were with the private sector. So given your broad background, I guess I'm just looking for a macro perspective given that situation, how we could really realistically move forward in a meaningful way.
It's a very hard question. And, economics, politics, both these two fields are not what you call perfect science, no? Even among yourselves as businessmen or corporate executives, the formula will vary from corporations to corporations. Even in the household, there's no fixed formula thing, but there are certain things that are going to be helpful. I can tell you, under a democratic institutions like the Philippines, it's much more difficult to progress than under a dictatorial form of government. No, the element of fear is so, I say, contagious, so effective, but in the end, it also depends on the results being. I guess let's look at corporations. Some executives exercise, even subconsciously, the element of fear, right? And the staff and the officers follow. So that's one way of having effective results, the fear. Others would be more of the loving type, caring type. Some will be effective. Unfortunately, the case of the Philippines being, so we emulated partly from the United States, it does take time. I'll give you one example. Right of way. So many infrastructure projects are necessary, but we encounter right of way problems, but we have to respect the democratic process. So many times the project cost becomes so huge, so different from its original form, because we have to go through the court, through the due process. So that's really a clear disadvantage already, no? Congress, well, you have to have a large majority in Congress because the way Congress works is by numbers, not by logic. Numbers. So now is a very good time for any president to come up with reforms. But there might be some elements that also influencing him not to undertake these reforms. But I'm saying, even with his popularity, especially if he can really address those three main concerns, he can come up with more reforms than what we even suggested here. He has to take that initiative. I don't know why he's not doing so. And that's why I'm conveying that it's a satisfactory rating. Even tax reforms, he can do it if he wants to. You know why he has to do it? As a student of economics, we are really facing some problems. We're sub improvement right now on our deficit to the GDP or the fiscal deficit. We have improved on the debt to GDP ratio, although in absolute terms it's growing, but it's not alarming compared to what other countries. We have only passed 2 of the targets of the government. And no, we have not passed the inflation target. No. Remember I told you inflation is, and an employment target. So all of this, if we can just address it, we can really trade off, But it depends. It depends on the leadership if he really wants to. The other thing being that's very important is institutions. Institutions. What do you mean institution? The bureaucracy. If you have a very weak bureaucracy, then we are in trouble because the cabinet secretaries and the president are not geniuses who can decide without support from a bureaucracy. Now, the bureaucracy, if they're not paid properly, not motivated, they will not recommend very well, or they will not take the initiative of recommending. So many times the cabinet secretaries are not sure about really what they're going to decide on, or their decision will probably be affected adversely because some of their recommendations are not well studied. No? So we've got to also ensure that our institutions are well motivated, well paid, so we can have a very efficient set of officials at the higher level. No? And that's why this book on why nations fail is so important, to suggest that we've got to really do well in terms of having that kind of support to our decision makers. The same is true in a corporation. You've got to have good middle management and staff to support the top management. I was fortunate that during my stint in government, I was supported by good staff. They were the ones who worked for me. That's why I coined the word 90-10. 90% of the work came from them. Only 10% came from me because of that. No. So that's a long answer. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Gary. Any other questions? I guess with that, we need to adjourn because it's now 2 p.m. And Gary, again, I'd like to thank you very much for your insights. As I said, what you've sort of put out here really is a whole list of issues that are kind of overwhelming to sort of consider. But as Rotarians, I think we just need to focus and prioritize what we can realistically do with it, which would be within our control, which is, of course, as you correctly pointed out, the nutritional program, which I'd like to believe that our club and other clubs are actually pushing. No? It's a small step in, I guess, nation building and helping our country, but it's a very realistic step that all of us, in fact, can take. And with that, I'd like to again thank you and give you some token and remembrance of your time here. First, this one, it's you can see this here. It's really like a plate that is used that's implanted in reef buds that are planted in the sea to regenerate coral. So this is our own humble response to environmental issues. Again, I know that other clubs, in fact, are doing that. No. Apart from that, Gary, would like to burden you with this heavy book about our history. It says 55, but we're going on 58, right, Sid? Oh, 58 now. So please, maybe you can consider. I know I've asked you this and you said you'll think about it, but maybe I'm going to ask you again in front of everybody. Consider joining us, Gary. So we're over a poker game. Over a poker game and over a golf game, you know. Gary is one of our best players in Alabang. And we've got somebody like Michael Escaler, of course, you know, who's also a great golfer. That's one of the freebies here. You join the club and you can play golf with Michael and so many others. Anyway, finally, again, to entertain you as you're going through the book and maybe share this bottle of wine with your friends over at Alabang. As your club here would like to give this to you, Gary. Thank you very much again for your time. Meeting adjourned. Yes, please.
Classmates. With speaker.